When you reclaim your power, the parasites starve. They fed off your silence, drank from your light like thieves in the dark. They smiled while draining you, played victim while playing God, all because they thought you didn't know who you were. But the moment you pulled your power back, their illusion shattered like glass under truth. And what's left of them now? A shell, a shadow, a fraud exposed in daylight, choking on their own lies. Because without your energy, they're nothing. They don't shine, they don't grow, they don't rise. They survive by stealing the light of the chosen. And baby, you were their power supply, until you woke up. Before we go deeper, like this video and subscribe to help spread this message to more chosen ones. Each like sends a signal to YouTube that this message matters, that this truth needs to be heard. When you engage, you amplify the frequency. And that ripple helps someone else break free. Don't watch in silence. Be part of the shift. Now, let's talk about what really happened when you took your power back. You weren't just walking away. You were pulling the plug on the whole illusion. They weren't mad because you left. They were mad because you stopped feeding them. And once you did, their world didn't just crack. It flipped. Chosen one, you have to understand something. Your presence was never ordinary. It was power in its purest form. Even when you doubted yourself, your energy whispered truths they couldn't stand. You walked in rooms and made liars itch. Your light called their masks into question. And instead of leveling up, they tried to leech off you, tried to clip your wings so they could feel taller next to you. But here's the thing about being chosen. You don't need approval. You don't need validation. You are the blueprint. And the moment you realize that, the entire game changed. They didn't just lose access to you, they lost access to the very thing that gave them life. Your belief in them, your kindness, your willingness to carry their wounds while they stabbed you in the back. You were healing what they never deserved to touch. And when you said, enough, it hit like thunder in a hollow chest. You ever see what happens when the spotlight cuts off? That's them now. No shine, no supply, no mask, just their real form. Desperate, shaking, exposed. Like that pale, twisted thing in the White Room from Harry Potter. Shriveled, helpless, a sad echo of who they pretended to be. That's the power of pulling your energy back. It's not just strength, it's a curse breaker. It's what forces fake empires to collapse. Because when the chosen walk away, everything built on the illusion falls with them. You are not crazy for walking away. You are not heartless for choosing yourself. You are chosen, and chosen people don't run on guilt. They run on alignment. Your presence was their privilege, not their right. And now that it's gone, their true weakness is all that remains. Let them rot in the shadows they created. Let them try to replace what can't be copied. Because your power was never in your hands. It was in your spirit. And now that it's back where it belongs, you're untouchable. So keep rising. Keep glowing. Keep choosing you, because the one thing your enemies can't recover from is your absence. So if you've ever felt that strange shift, like someone lost their grip on you the second you chose peace over chaos, that wasn't your imagination. That was their fake world collapsing without your energy to hold it up. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you felt that moment, that snap, when their mask cracked and the power flipped. Because what's coming next? It's going to hit even harder. And now, let's break it down step by step. And trust me, if you're truly chosen, something in you won't let you click away. Let's get into it. Number 1, they were sipping champagne while you were bleeding until you pulled the plug. They called it love, but it was a power theft. You weren't their partner, you were their power plant. Let's be clear, everything good they had while standing next to you, that wasn't luck, that wasn't the right time, that wasn't God favoring them over you, that was you, that was your light fueling their lifestyle, that was your energy propping up their fake confidence, that was your intuition guiding their path while they pretended to lead. They were smiling because they were feeding off you, and the moment you cut the cord, the feast ended. Now, they're starving. You were the source, period. They were a parasite dressed up as a partner, a friend, a soulmate, but underneath it all, they were just another energy thief trying to keep you blind while they fed. And you let them. Not because you were weak, not because you were stupid, but because you're chosen. Because you see light in people, even when they're full of shadows. Because your soul wants to heal, not hurt. You thought love meant giving, even when it drained you. But let this be the last time. Because they weren't giving back, they were extracting. Ask yourself this: when did you start shrinking? When did your peace disappear? When did your glow fade? Think back. When did the self-doubt creep in? When did the weight hit your chest like invisible bricks? When did your money slow down, your clarity blur, your dreams get quieter? Now look at them, thriving, glowing, smiling, getting compliments they never earned, posting like they built their joy from scratch. And all the while, you were breaking, you were shrinking, you were suffering, and they knew. They knew, and they did nothing, because they were never trying to build with you. They were just trying to benefit off your energy while you stayed confused. But chosen one, when you finally opened your eyes, when you finally saw that your love was being weaponized against you, when you snapped and took it all back, their entire reality flipped. The lights went out. The fake confidence crumbled. That glow they were showing off, gone. The opportunities dried up. The attention turned to dust. Why? Because the universe stopped supporting them the second you stopped carrying them. They were thriving on borrowed power, your power. And don't let them gaslight you now. Don't let them crawl back in talking about you've changed. Damn right you did. You remembered who you were. You remembered that it was never equal, that they weren't adding. They were attached, like a virus, like a leech. You were the light they were surviving off, and the second you unplugged their access, their real form showed up, bitter, empty, and exposed. You ever see a vampire without blood? That's them now. And if right now you're still wondering, was I too harsh? Maybe I was too quick to cut them off. Let me stop you right there. That doubt, that's the residue of manipulation. That's the last breath of their influence, trying to stay alive in your mind. Kill it, burn it. Because the truth is, if you weren't chosen, they wouldn't have come so hard for you. They wouldn't have attached so deep. The fact that they needed your light to function proves that you are the source. And the universe, listen to me closely, the universe was never punishing you by putting you through that. It was revealing what happens when a divine being gives their power to the unworthy. You were never abandoned. You were being shown contrast, because now that you've taken your energy back, everything is shifting. Doors are opening, peace is flowing, your glow is returning. Slowly maybe, quietly maybe, but it is. Because you stopped watering a garden that only grew weeds. The system is working for you now. Things that once felt blocked are moving again. You're remembering your clarity. Your intuition is back online. And guess what? They feel it too. That's why they're spiraling. That's why they're stalking your energy from the sidelines. Because they know the truth. They never had the power. They only had access. Chosen one, stop questioning your value. Stop doubting your power. You didn't destroy them. You just stopped building them. And if that caused their world to collapse, good. Let it. That was never your job to carry. Because you weren't just part of their life. You were their life support. And now they've flatlined. Because the source stopped giving. Number 2. They wore a smile, but it was always a mask. And now you're staring straight into the monster beneath. When you blocked their access, you didn't just protect yourself. You exposed what they really are. There's no hiding it now. The act is dead. The illusion has shattered. The same person who once smiled in your face, called you love, soulmate, ride or die, now looks hollow. Their eyes, empty. No light, no warmth, no soul. Just cold calculation and quiet rage. You're not imagining it. You're seeing clearly for the first time. This person was never who they pretended to be. That persona they wore like a costume, that was built to survive off of you. And now that you've cut the cord, you're witnessing the collapse. Because the moment you snatched your power back, the mask fell. No more sweet talk. No more carefully crafted fake kindness. No more pretending to care. What's left now is raw, bitter truth, and it's ugly. They were always trying to control you, but they wrapped it in charm. They were always trying to drain you, but they called it connection. You weren't in a relationship. You were in a performance, a play where you gave and gave, while they wore whatever face they needed to keep you hooked. But now that your energy's gone, now you see the glitch in their system, the desperation, the glitchy smiles, the forced calm that cracks when you don't respond the way you used to. Now they're flipping, fast. 1 second it's "I miss you," and the next it's "You'll regret this." One moment it's fake maturity, the next it's venom. That's not confusion. That's their true self panicking because the power source is gone. Chosen one, they were never stable. Your energy made them seem balanced. You were the battery pack behind their fake peace. You were the soul in their soulless shell. And when you pulled away, the demon beneath had no choice but to show itself. You're not crazy for seeing it. You're not being dramatic for noticing their eyes look different. Their vibe feels off. Their presence suddenly repulses you. That's real. You're witnessing spiritual exposure, the fallout when fake light is cut off from divine energy. They're glitching, unraveling, trying to mimic humanity. But it doesn't land. Because the role they played is over, and they were never the person they pretended to be. And you know what's funny? They really thought they could keep the act going. They thought if they smiled just right, said the correct thing, mimicked empathy just long enough, they could slither their way back in. They thought the same words that worked on you when you were asleep would still work now that you're awake. But now you see through them, and they can feel it. That terrifies them. Because when you're chosen, your vision sharpens after betrayal. You start to feel what people try to hide. You read silence like it's shouting. You catch energy shifts like thunder. And when you look at them now, it's not love you feel, it's a warning. Your soul throws up shields, your body tenses. That's not trauma, that's truth. That spiritual recognition saying, this thing was never safe. You were just asleep to it before. Now you're awake, and they hate it, because nothing enrages a narcissist, an energy vamp, more than losing control over a chosen one. You were their goldmine. You were the prize, not because they loved you, but because they needed you. And when that need turned into desperation, they started spiraling. You saw it, didn't you? The twitch when you said no, the slip in their tone when you held a boundary. That mask they'd glued to their face started melting the second you didn't flinch. And underneath it, rot. All they know is control. All they crave is reaction. And when you stopped giving them both, the mask fell straight to the floor. Now the demons pacing. Now the puppet masters pulling strings with no marionette. Now the manipulator is screaming in silence because nothing they say moves you anymore. But let's be real. Some of you are still doubting, still asking, was it really that deep? Was it really that dark? Yes, it was. Stop minimizing what your spirit already confirmed. You saw what you saw. You felt what you felt. Don't let nostalgia lie to you. Don't let loneliness rewrite history. You're not imagining the evil behind their smile. You're finally perceiving it. Remember, they only looked better when you were dying inside. They only seemed happy when you were sacrificing your peace. They only laughed loudest when your soul was quiet. That's not love, that's feeding. And the second you stopped being their meal, they lost the mask, because keeping it up takes your energy. You powered the illusion. You gave it glow. You made their nothingness look like substance. And now that it's over, all they have left is the chaos they tried to hide. So don't pity them. Don't feel bad for not answering their texts. Don't let the crocodile tears fool you. That's performance, not pain. That's manipulation, not remorse. They miss what they got from you, not who you are. And to the chosen ones, still on the fence, still battling that urge to go back, remember this: the mask is off. You've already seen the truth. You can't unsee it. Don't crawl back into a burning house just because the door's open. Don't let empathy drag you into your own execution. You don't owe them another ounce of your light. Let them sit in the darkness they built. Let them stew in the silence that used to be filled with your love, your care, your spirit. Because now that silence is screaming at them. Now the void they left in you is swallowing them. And no matter how hard they beg, no matter how many masks they put back on, it's too late. Because you're chosen. You don't beg to be seen. You don't fight to be kept. And you damn sure don't stay where demons drink from your soul like it's wine. They showed their true self. Now believe them. Let the mask rot where it fell and walk away. Number 3, they were playing chess with your heart. But now the board's flipped and the game's over. They didn't love you, they studied you, and when you stopped performing, their whole world cracked. They never came to build, they came to win, but not in the way real people win. They don't want growth, peace, or love. They want control, power, attention, and your soul was their playground. Your kindness was their tool. Your emotions were the joystick they used to pull you into round after round of manipulation, disguised as connection. But here's what they never expected: for you to stop playing. It was always a cycle, a loop, a silent game with rules you never agreed to, but somehow kept getting pulled into. And the moment you got wise to it, The moment you started seeing how every move they made had strings tied to your reaction, that's when the whole system began to fall apart. You ever notice how they always come back with just enough charm to make you second-guess your instincts? How they remember exactly what worked last time? A flirty message, an apology laced with fake vulnerability, a gift, a favor, a promise. Maybe it's your favorite food. Maybe it's a deep conversation. Maybe it's sex. They rotate strategies like cards in a rigged deck. Whatever got to you before, that's what they're pulling now. But it's not working anymore. Because you've seen too much. You've felt the sting of betrayal wrapped in a pretty package. You've watched them shift masks like outfits, smiling with their mouth while their energy screamed threat. And now, none of it lands. Their magic trick is broken. The spell has worn off. And the game they played so well, useless without your participation. They only ever had power when you reacted, when you explained, when you tried to prove your side, when you defended yourself, when you hoped they would finally get it. But you're not doing that anymore. You're done playing chess with someone who keeps flipping the board whenever they're losing. And make no mistake, they are losing. Because what they fear most isn't your anger, it's your silence, it's your indifference, it's the fact that what used to break you doesn't even move you now, that you can see their lies from a mile away and not even bother to call it out, that you've grown so much they can't even reach you, and that burns them. See, people like that don't just want attention, they want dominance. They need to know they can still control your emotional weather, that they can send a text and make your heart race, that they can show up changed and make you question your clarity, that they can push your buttons and keep you stuck in a loop. But now that you've disconnected, now that you've unplugged from the manipulation, they're flailing. They're going through their usual playbook, trying to bait you back into the old dynamic. But what used to work doesn't anymore. The flowers feel fake. The apologies feel rehearsed. The nice words sound like a script. And your soul knows it. You're not being mean. You're being clear. You're not being cold. You're being awake. And that's why they're spiraling. They never wanted healing. They wanted handling. They wanted a version of you that stayed small, confused, forgiving to a fault. But you've changed. You've stepped out of the arena and left them swinging at air. And when someone like you steps back into their power, the people who fed off your light can't stand the burn of their own darkness. So they flip. One moment they're kind, the next cold. First it's, "I miss you." Then it's guilt trips and blame. They're unraveling in real time because they have no more control. Their tricks don't work. Their charm is glitching. Their presence feels hollow because the game only exists if you agree to play. And you've walked away from the table for good. That's why you're dangerous now. Not because you yelled, not because you exposed them, but because you healed, because you're no longer available for chaos, because you recognized your peace is not something to trade for crumbs. And that level of clarity, it terrifies them, because it means they can't reach you, can't provoke you, can't use you. They tried to break you, and instead, you broke their system. So let them try. Let them throw every tired trick your way. Let them send mixed signals, fake kindness, or sudden guilt trips. You don't need to respond. You don't need to explain. You don't owe them access to your energy just because they showed up in a new costume. You already won. The moment you stopped reacting, you won. So remember this. The game never had real power. You did. And now that you're no longer handing that power away, they're the ones left begging for a turn in a game that's already over. Checkmate. Number 4. The door didn't close on you, it closed for you. Sometimes rejection isn't a setback, it's the system pulling you out of a trap before it's too late. Let's cut through the noise. This isn't your first time at this rodeo. You've seen the patterns, you've felt the gut punches, you've watched your peace evaporate, your money slow down, your energy spiral, your clarity fade. All because you kept entertaining someone who brought absolutely nothing but chaos. But this time, it hits different, because now the door isn't just closing, it's slamming, and not in your face, behind your back, to make sure you don't walk back in. You're not confused anymore. You're not blind. You're not caught off guard. You've done this loop too many times to pretend it's still love. You know what this is. You know what they are. You've lived the damage they cause. And now, finally, you feel something snapping inside you that says, this is the last time. Every time you let them back in, something in your life starts to die. Your confidence shrinks. Your opportunities dry up. Your joy fades. Your focus gets foggy. It's like they walk into your space and suck the life out of the air. And for what? What do they really give you besides headaches, apologies, and emotional confusion dressed up as connection? They don't pour into you. They drain. They don't support. They sabotage. They don't add. They subtract. You ever notice how the second you start dealing with them again, things start falling apart? Like clockwork, money gets weird. Your business stalls. Your energy drops. It's not coincidence. It's cause and effect. You're tied to someone who doesn't align with anything good for you. And the longer you stay attached, the longer you stay blocked. They bring lack, period. Lack of peace, lack of love, lack of truth, lack of growth. They move like a walking dead zone. Nothing thrives in their presence unless it benefits them. And every time you rise, they get nervous. Not because they love you, but because they know you might wake up for real this time and leave them behind for good. And now, that's exactly what's happening. You've reached a point where even your spirit is rejecting them. You can't fake the smile anymore. You can't ignore the gut feeling. You can't pretend their energy doesn't feel heavy. That queasy vibe you get when they text you, that weight in your chest when they walk in the room, that's your system flagging danger. That's your mind, body, and energy screaming, enough. And don't get it twisted. This isn't punishment. This isn't bad luck. This is protection. The system you're aligned with, the frequency you're moving into, it refuses to let this dead weight come with you. Not because you're not strong enough to carry it, but because you were never supposed to. You are not built for misery. You are not built for manipulation. You are not built to suffer in silence just to keep someone else comfortable. You are built for more, and that more cannot happen while you're still tangled up in someone who's draining your potential. You can't rise and babysit dysfunction at the same time. One has to go. And that's why everything started breaking when you tried to bring them with you. That's why things got stuck. Because the system around you, the alignment pulling you forward, was never going to bless that connection. It was never going to reward self-abandonment. They're not your equal. They're not your partner. They're not even your peer. They're a distraction, a delay, a detour wrapped in a human body. And now that your eyes are open, you can see it clearly. They never really saw you. They saw access. They saw benefit. They saw a walking resource, not a real person. So now it's time to move, not with hate, not with bitterness, but with clarity. Because once you recognize what someone brings into your life, you have a responsibility to protect your space accordingly. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself progress. And you owe your future the gift of not dragging dead weight into it. Let them be mad. Let them guilt trip. Let them twist the story. They'll say you changed. That's fine. You did. You upgraded. And people who can't evolve with you will always try to shame you for growing without them. Let them sit in the chaos they created. Let them spiral in the lack they bring. You're not being punished by losing them. You're being cleared for something greater. And you don't owe anyone an explanation for that. Number 5. They're starving without you, and nothing they find can feed them the way you did. They didn't love your soul, they fed on it, and now that you're gone, they're starving in a world full of substitutes that will never taste like power. The crash was instant. The moment you cut them off, walked away, blocked access, they began to rot, slowly, desperately, quietly at first, then louder with every passing day. You didn't just walk away from a person. You removed their power source. You didn't just leave a relationship. You unplugged a leech from the vein it had been draining for far too long. And now, they're unraveling. You were never just someone. You were the fuel, the fix, the life support, the emotional generator they hooked themselves up to in secret. While you cried, they were thriving. While you bent over backwards, they were full. While you doubted yourself, they were feeding off the very light you were trying to protect. And now that the cord has been cut, they're dry, weak, searching for their next hit. But here's what's driving them insane. They can't replace what you gave them. They're out here scrambling for new supply, running through people like empty snacks, trying to find even a drop of what they used to get from you. Sex, attention, validation, praise, nothing hits the same. They've tasted real power, and now the counterfeits are making them sick. It's like watching a vampire with no blood left in the city. They're desperate, hunting, wild-eyed, but nothing satisfies. Because they don't want just anyone. They want you. Not out of love, not out of remorse, but because your energy was rare, rich, pure, and their toxic system is now collapsing without it. Imagine an addict losing access to their favorite drug. That's the level of withdrawal they're in. They're twitching, plotting, searching, trying to fake calm, but behind the scenes, they're falling apart. That glow they had when they were with you gone? That confidence fading? That mask of control cracking? Because they're starving. Let's be real. They'll never admit this, never tell the truth. They'll post like they're doing fine, laugh in pictures, flirt with new people, put on their little show. But it's empty, performative, a weak attempt to convince you and themselves that they're okay. But you can feel it, can't you? That pull, that disturbance in your peace, that strange energy trying to reach you. That's them, sending out signals, hoping you'll bite, hoping you'll check on them, miss them, doubt your decision. But you won't, because deep down, you know they're not okay. You can feel the hunger behind their silence, the bitterness behind their smiles, the envy behind their new connections. And sure, they'll find someone new. They might already have, but it won't last. It never does, because they're not looking for connection. They're looking for another source. But that new person, They don't shine like you, don't pour like you, don't feed like you. That's the curse of losing someone like you. You can replace the body, but never the essence. It's like Twilight. Yeah, we're going there. Edward saw thousands of humans over centuries, but Bella's scent hit different. It wasn't just attraction, it was compulsion. But in this case, it's darker, because unlike Edward, this person doesn't want to love you. They want to consume you. They don't want to protect your energy. They want to drain it, use it, and then leave you hollow. No shorty like mine, they're thinking, but in the most toxic way. You weren't a partner to them. You were a resource, an emotional buffet. And now that it's closed, they're starving at the door, pounding on it in silence, while pretending they're thriving. Let them rot, let them seek, let them chase ghosts trying to find the energy they abused and lost. Because you're no longer on the menu. You've reclaimed what was stolen. You've healed the wound they fed from. You've turned the power back inward, and now you're glowing, not for them, but for you. They didn't value you. They devoured you. And now, they'll spend the rest of their bitter journey trying to find a substitute for something that can't be duplicated. Let them starve. That's not your guilt to carry. That's karma. Number 6. They tried to replace you, but all they got was a knockoff with no soul. You weren't just one of a kind. You were the original. And now, every copy they chase is a painful reminder of what they'll never have again. They thought you were disposable, like they could mistreat you, drain you, walk away, and then just pick someone else off the shelf to replace what you gave. They really believed your essence was something they could duplicate, as if your power, your presence, your light came from something surface level. But now, reality is hitting them in the face, and it's not soft, it's brutal, it's empty, it's hollow, because nothing feels like you. Nothing even comes close. They're mad. Mad because they tried to move on like it was nothing. But every new person they find just reminds them of you. They might not say it out loud, but it's eating them alive. They're obsessing, trying to mold others into your image, telling people how to talk like you, dress like you, act like you. It's almost funny, like watching someone try to photocopy fire. You can print the image, but you'll never feel the heat, because you are the heat. What you brought to the table wasn't learned, it was born. It came from your soul, from your resilience, from everything you've survived and still managed to glow through. They didn't love that about you, they used it. They saw how people were drawn to you, how your energy lit up rooms, how your silence carried more weight than their loudest performance. And instead of respecting it, they tried to own it, control it, trap it. But once that energy left their life, it was over, done, game shut down. Now they're out here scrambling, pretending to be happy, showing off their new supply like a trophy. But you see it, the emptiness in their eyes, the way nothing lands, the awkwardness behind their smiles. They're trying to make someone be you, and it's backfiring, because it's not working, it never will. You cannot be duplicated. You cannot be cloned. You cannot be replaced. And that truth, it haunts them. It follows them into every new interaction, every conversation that falls flat, every fake connection they try to force. That silence after the performance ends. That's where your absence screams the loudest, and they hear it, loud and clear. Now let's be honest, you might still have to deal with this person. Maybe you co-parent, maybe you share business ties, Maybe circumstances force you into limited contact. That's fine, because now you've learned the trick. Don't play the game. They only win when you respond, when you argue, when you explain, when you let their energy pull yours into reaction. But you're done reacting. You're done feeding a fire that only burns you. Now, you're short, clear, and distant. No emotion, no access, no energy exchange. Because you finally understand. Every word you give them is a seed they'll try to use to grow another cycle. But if you give them nothing, they have nothing to build with. You want peace? Protect your power. You want freedom? Guard your energy. You want healing? Stay out of their game. Because every time you choose silence over drama, clarity over chaos, calm over reaction, you win again. Every time they try to trigger you and fail, they die a little inside. And every time they turn to someone new hoping to feel the way they did with you and don't, they realize what they lost wasn't just a person. It was the only real thing they ever touched. So let them chase shadows. Let them dress the next person in your skin. Let them try to clone what they never even understood. You don't have to compete. You don't have to prove a thing. You already were the blueprint. And the original can never be replaced. Hold your energy like gold. Move like royalty. Speak only when necessary. Interact only when required. And leave the rest to echo in their empty world. Because now they know the truth. They didn't just lose someone, they lost the one. Number 7, it hurt to walk away, but staying was killing you. They didn't need your love, they needed your energy. And when you stopped handing it over, they called it betrayal. But it was survival. They only ever needed a little, a quick hit, just enough of your light to keep themselves going a few more hours. A compliment here, a deep conversation there, a touch, a glance, a tiny dose of the warmth they couldn't generate on their own. They'd show up empty, take what they needed, and disappear, only to come back when they started crashing again. You were their power bank, their fix, their reset button. And they never thought you'd unplug. They thought they had you on an invisible leash, and that no matter how far you pulled away, you'd always come back when they gave the right look, said the right thing, triggered the right guilt. But not this time. You've seen too much, lost too much, felt too much. And now, you're not just walking away, you're rebuilding. And when you start rebuilding, you learn to stop throwing bricks at people who only show up to destroy. You've reached the point where even the idea of giving them your energy again makes you sick. They've noticed. The way they look at you now, that tired, hollow, almost begging look, that's not love. That's withdrawal. They're starving for the one thing they can't fake buy, or fake seduce their way back into: your authentic energy. They've tried to replace it, but nothing sticks. Nobody else tastes like you. Nobody else feeds them the way you did. And yes, for some of you, this was romantic, but not all. For many, it's deeper. A friend, a sibling, even a parent. Someone who should have protected you, but instead fed off of you. Someone you loved, but who mistook your empathy for a license to take. You had a soft spot for them. That's the part that still aches a little. You saw the pain in their eyes. You recognized their wounds. You saw the scared little child inside the adult-sized problem. And for a while, you thought it was your job to love them enough to heal them. You thought if you just gave more, they'd change. You thought your light could fill the void in them that life had carved out. But eventually, you realize something that broke your heart. They didn't want to heal. They wanted to feed. And every time you handed them another piece of yourself, they swallowed it without thanks, without remorse, without care for what it cost you. You were bleeding love while they built confidence off your brokenness. And when it finally hit you, really hit you, that they were never going to stop taking, something inside you snapped. Maybe it was a moment in a grocery store parking lot, raw, random, but real. Something small triggered something deep, a final disrespect, an argument, an attempt to guilt trip you when all you did was show up again. And in that moment, all the puzzle pieces came together. You saw it, clearly, finally, that this person, whoever they are, didn't want you. They wanted what you could do for them. That's when you chose yourself. And let's not lie, it hurt. You cried, you questioned. You had to fight the urge to turn back, to check on them, to feel responsible for their pain. Because for so long, their suffering was your suffering. You carried it, nurtured it, tried to fix what you didn't break. But walking away wasn't betrayal. It was liberation. It was the loudest yes you've ever said to yourself. You weren't abandoning them. You were rescuing you. Now they're drained. You see it in their face, in their voice, in the way they stumble through new connections, hoping to feel something even close to what they had with you. They're failing, and they know it. But it's not your job to pick them up anymore. It never was. You're done playing healer to someone who turned your love into leverage. You're done watering dead soil and calling it hope. You're done mistaking loyalty for self-destruction. And if a part of you still aches, that's okay. It means you cared deeply, maybe more than they ever deserved. But your pain doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. It means you finally made the right one. So feel what you need to feel. Grieve if you must. But don't go back. Don't respond to that text. Don't interpret their sadness as your responsibility. Don't reopen a chapter that almost ended you. You're not heartless for walking away. You're powerful. And now, you're free. Number 8. This time, you chose you. And that was the most powerful thing you've ever done. Some people don't change, they drain. And the moment you decided to stop bleeding for someone who wouldn't even bandage themselves, that was your rebirth. This message is heavy, not because it's cruel, but because it's real. Because even when someone's hurting you, even when they're tearing you down, part of you can still feel sorry for them. That's the heart you have. That's the empathy in your bones. That's the softness you carry that made you a target in the first place. But today, you chose something different. You chose you. Not out of spite, not out of ego, but out of necessity, out of survival. Because no matter how much you care about someone, it's not fair, and never will be, to be destroyed by someone who refuses to heal themselves. Someone who refuses to even see themselves. Someone who makes you the villain for doing what they won't do. Grow. They were hurting, maybe even broken. Maybe they've dealt with trauma, pain, abandonment. Some of them may be dealing with real mental illness, personality disorders, emotional instability. That's true. But truth doesn't erase responsibility. Pain doesn't excuse abuse. Being wounded isn't the same as being entitled to another person's life force. And no, it was never your job to fix them. You're not their therapist. You're not their crutch. You're not a rehab center for emotionally unavailable people. You're not a punching bag for someone who blames their unhealed past for every harmful thing they do in the present. That's not your assignment. Your only assignment is you. Your healing, your freedom, your peace, your expansion. You've tried, you gave chances, you saw the good in them long after the damage was done. You hoped, you cried, you stayed longer than anyone else would have. You bent, stretched, forgave, but none of it changed them. All it did was shrink you, until now. Because something clicked, something in you whispered, "What about me? What about your joy, your purpose, your future? What about your peace, your mind, your body, your life?" And in that moment, the moment you finally listened to yourself, you started calling your power back. And chosen one, I'm proud of you. Not because it was easy, but because you finally stopped choosing people who wouldn't even choose themselves. You stopped negotiating with someone who never even valued the real you. You stopped dying on hills that were never worth the climb. That doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you're healing. It means you finally realized that some people will drain you until there's nothing left. And when they're done, they'll still ask for more. But you saw the pattern, and you broke it. You interrupted the cycle. And even if your hands are still shaking, even if your heart still stings, you chose you. And that changes everything. So yes, this message is heavy, but it's also your permission to be light again, to let go, to stop carrying what was never yours, to stop holding on to people who wouldn't even hold space for your growth. This is the end of their grip on you and the beginning of your rise. So I'll end it here with love and truth. If this message hit you deep, if it lit something inside you or brought you peace in the middle of your storm, stay connected. I love you, for real, and I'm sending you a wave of power, healing, and clarity as you move through this next chapter. You don't owe anyone access to your energy just because they miss what they misused. You owe yourself everything now. So keep calling your power back from every place it was stolen, every room where you were overlooked, every bond where you were only being used. This week, this month, this year is yours. Keep choosing you again and again and again, because you were never too much. They were just never enough. And so, as we bring this message to a close, let this truth sink deep into your soul. Walking away wasn't weakness, it was warrior work. You chose yourself, and that choice changed everything. You're no longer handing out your energy to those who only know how to take. From this point forward, it's power only. If this message hit home, like the video, subscribe to stay connected and drop the number 77 in the comments to confirm you're reclaiming your energy. Share this with another chosen one who needs the reminder: you are not replaceable. You are the source.